Hello, Fearless Gamers. Matt here for Fearless Games, and welcome to another entry in the Book Corner. Today's video is going to be a real special one because we've upgraded some of our equipment. We're now using a camera that can go 1080p and 4K. Our previous camera was only capable of doing 1080i. That's why some of the videos were a little fuzzy. But hopefully this one here will make the picture a lot more clearer. I have to first check with my special effects programs to see if they can handle 4K. If not, it's going to be a little while before we jump into 4K videos. But for now, our video quality should greatly improve from here on. And I also have a lavalier microphone, so hopefully now my audio is a little crisper, it's a little clearer, and there's a little less background noise. I'm testing it right now. I've got my back door open. There's some cops sirens going on right now. Don't have the printer running, so I can't test if the fan can be heard, but we'll get to that probably in another video. I'll test it out. Don't worry, if I can hear it, I won't put that in the recording because I know that fan sound is annoying. But with all that out of the way, let's dive right into our book review of the day, which is going to be on The Elemental Council by Noah Van Wen. The planet of Calquo has been taken over by the Tau, but it hasn't been a smooth transition, for there are pockets of resistance led by a space marine of the Raptor Chapter who refuse to accept the new Tau overlords. It is now up to Ethereal Yori, who has assembled an elemental council, a group consisting of individuals, one from each caste of the Tau, to get a well-rounded perspective on the situation to solve this problem once and for all. But not everything is as it seems, for there's much more to this resistance than meets the eye, and the Tau here will be challenged with what they believe and what they're doing is really for the greater good. And overall, I like this book. I can't say I loved it, but I definitely wouldn't say I hated it. This book was in the middle of the road for me, probably because I'm not a huge Tau fan, so if I was a big Tau fan, I probably would be like, oh, this is such a great book. But as someone who is not a big fan of the Tau, it was a pleasant read. Like I've mentioned in our Necron reviews, this gives you a nice dive into the Tau perspective, since we're not getting it through the filter of the Imperials. So we get a nice look at their life and how they deal with things and how they view things. So we're getting like a look into their everyday lives, how they view each other, you know, the different castes, how they see each other. So how a fire caste views an earth caste and how an air caste views a water caste, which is really cool. And we get an insight into Tau politics, which again, if you're looking for more in-depth views of the Tau beyond the Codex, this is a great book for that. We also get a nice insight to Tau language. For example, I didn't know that the Tau communicate with their hands as well as their words. Throughout the book, when characters are talking, they'll bring up like they question with their fingers or a laugh rolls across their hands. And that was something I didn't know that the Tau did. I didn't know they basically convey emotions with their hands, which reminded me of like the Eldar, because the Eldar will use words and gestures. In fact, they can have whole conversations without ever uttering a single word, just by body motion. And finding out that the Tau do something similar I thought was really cool, because I like the idea that not all Xenos communicate the same way as humans, that they have other forms of communication wrapped into their language and how it just flows naturally between the two. So that was really cool. We also get a nice insight to the Tau mindset around the greater good and its impact on non-Tau, which was really cool because the Tau have this whole aura around them in the community that they are the good guys of 40K. And when you sit there seeing them go, I don't get why these people are resisting us. We're going to determine their whole lives from now until they die. We're going to choose what they do for the rest of their lives, and that's going to give them purpose. Why aren't they thanking us for taking away their options and just giving them a job and saying live with it? That's just so perfect. You don't have to think about it. And it's such an interesting concept to see, well, you know, people kind of like the option of choice, and the Tau don't seem to understand that. And seeing that happen in this book just really brings a nice fresh perspective on it. The story is very well paced. There is a little bit of a mystery going on behind it, stuff going within the shadows, and wondering how it's all going to play out. Like in The Twice Dead King, there is an element to the Tau that's introduced in the story that you wonder what they're going to do with it, because if they go as far as you think they're going to go, it could change things for the Tau going forward. And if they don't, it's curious to see how are they going to do it without it sounding cheesy or crummy. And this one actually holds up. The way they handle it was very well done, kept me interested, motivated to see how it plays out, and the conclusion was actually one that I was happy with. The perspective of the Space Marine was really cool. When you see him appear, just how the Tau respond to him, knowing what resources he has, knowing what the Tau are throwing at him, and him just keeping on going, really sells that whole Space Marine or transhuman dread that Space Marines convey to their foes. And again, I always love seeing how Space Marines are viewed by Xenos races, because it's just such a different viewpoint and turns that whole hero, we are the brave, noble Space Marines who fight with honor and dignity, and then seeing the Xenos going, what is this horrific monster and all these hard atrocities he's doing? It's kind of funny because it turns almost every Space Marine into a Night Lord. It's always fun to see those kind of things. The story is very well written because, like I said, I listen to the audiobooks just because it's easier for me. The narrator does a very good job at telling the story. And overall, not a bad book. If you're not a huge fan of Tau, it's a nice refreshed look at a 40K story just from a different perspective and not just Imperial. If you're a huge fan of the Tau, you get to see them in all their glory and doing really cool stuff and getting more in-depth look at Tau society, which again is always fun to see. But what about you guys who have read the book? What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? Let me know in the comments. I would really like to hear what you have to say. Just try to keep it spoiler free. And also, if there's a book that you think I would enjoy, drop down those suggestions as well. I'll see if I can get a review in on it. And if you haven't already, hit that like button so this video gets circulated out there. If you want to get more stories from us, click that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon so you can actually be told when we get more videos out there. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.